Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is without a doubt one of the most ambitious games to ever be released. Think I'm exaggerating? Then tell me which other game developer would take an IV drip to work instead of taking the sick day off. Over 70 playable characters, 100 stages, and soundtracks nearing the quadruple digits? The Smash developing team sure went all out to make this game the ultimate gaming crossover. The assist trophies, the items, and hell, even the classic mode all blend to create one fanservice deluxe brunch. However, despite the abundancy in franchise representation, one area of the game that is rather hollow is the bosses. With a plethora of franchises represented as playable characters and assist trophies, it is beyond baffling why only 4 franchises were represented as bosses. The sad thing about this is that there were so many possibilities for bosses from hundreds of Nintendo games that currently exist, and none of them made the final cut. Here I will be listing all the potentially great bosses that were unfortunately not present in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Let's start with the obvious ones, all the returning bosses from Brawl. Rayquaza, Porky, Petey Piranha, Duon, and maybe even Taboo would all have been perfect as returning bosses. I mean, if Galleon returned, why couldn't they? Not only would they have been great bosses, but also very easy to implement into the game since, well, they could just have taken the bosses directly from Brawl and bam, more bosses. Rayquaza would have been the perfect boss to end the classic mode with the Pokemon. Porky for Ness and Lucas, Petey Piranha for the Mario characters who didn't fight Giga Bowser, Duon and Taboo for some of the one who fought Master and Crazy Hand to add variety to classic mode. Because trust me, that mode can get really stale and repetitive. Like with Gallium, the Brawl veteran bosses could have been given an upgrade to make their battles more interesting. Petey Piranha could be granted his Fire Breath, which he uses in Piranha Plant's final smash, along with many of his attacks from Super Mario Sunshine, such as the Twister, which can function like Mii's Sword Fighter's Gale, launching the player up so he can follow up with his other attacks. And of course, you can't have Petey Piranha without a puke of goop. This move could have worked like a mixture of the poison and sticky substance found in spirit battles, simultaneously poisoning and immobilizing players, adding an extra challenge factor to Petey because he was pathetically easy in Brawl. Rayquaza was already a complete boss in Brawl, with a plethora of creative attacks and challenging difficulty. There isn't much to change on it, but see how this is Smash and Sakurai always likes to outdo himself? I say the OG My Hero Academia Pokemon should be given the Dracula treatment. What exactly do I mean by this? Simple. Phase 1, you fight the Brawl Rayquaza, but as soon as it's defeated, it mega evolves. In this form, the boss will become faster and more powerful and gain the access to very lethal attacks. Imagine Mega Rayquaza attacking with Dragon Ascent, Draco Meteor, Hyper Beam, and also maybe Ancient Power and Outrage. Damn. Sounds scary, but simultaneously epic. Porky could also be a 2-stage boss, with the statue functioning as the first phase and the Brawl boss as the second one. However, since I haven't actually played Mother 3, I can't really say what attacks the statue could use. And to wrap it up, we have Duon and Taboo. Honestly, these two can stay the way they are, since they are already great bosses and haven't made an appearance in any other Smash game than Brawl, meaning that there is no source of reference to update their arsenal from. Now from the Brawl Subspace Emissary bosses to the Smash 4 stage bosses, Yellow Devil, Metal Face, and Dark Emperor. If I were to be brutally honest, these 3 need no change, none whatsoever. Literally, just grab them from their stages, place them in World of Light, and give them a visible health bar, and voila, boss battle. Of course, Ridley is not gonna be a boss because he's already a playable character, never was too big to begin with. here is where things get interesting. Bosses made from scratch. Time to see which other Nintendo villains would have worked perfectly as adventure mode and classic mode bosses. Let's start off by taking the Rathalos route. What do I mean by that? Well, simple. We take an assist trophy and turn it into a boss. The one assist trophy that makes a lot of sense as a boss is none other than Mother Brain. For being the final boss in the original Metroid, it's honestly pretty baffling that Mother Brain was not a boss battle, because she made perfect sense as Samus's final boss in classic mode. I mean, she already uses attacks from the battle against her in both Metroid and Zero Mission, so making her a boss would have been a cakewalk. And to make the battle more interesting, I say the stage in which you would battle Mother Brain would have magma pits to reference the battle against her. When all these factors combine, Mother Brain could have been one fun yet tough son of a gun to fight with. What? You thought I was going to say the B word? From Metroid to Star Fox, we come to another potentially great boss, Andross. However, unlike Mother Brain, the battle against Andross would not be taken straight from the assist trophy, because boss Andross should be the monkey Andross from Star Fox 64 and Star Fox Zero. In this form, the mad scientist will have access to his hands to attack with along his projectile asteroids. Similar to boss Ganon, who is only damaged in the tail, Andross will follow its N64 counterpart and only have certain weak spots to be damaged on. If you played Star Fox 64 or Star Fox 64 3D, you will know that Andross can only be normally damaged in the eye. So to respect the source material, Andross would only receive damage in the eyes. I know what some of you are thinking. You know that Andross can be damaged in the palm of his hands, right? Yes. I know. I played Star Fox 64, but in that game, damaging or even destroying the hands doesn't affect the main head in the slightest. So to reflect Star Fox 64, it would be best if each hand had their own health bar, requiring each one to be destroyed to make the battle more doable. It would also be nice if throughout the match, random smart bombs drop for players to use, similar to how Deku Nuts and Pitfalls drop in the battle against Rathalos. The smart bombs could have been used to daze Andross when he eats it after the player throws it against him while inhaling, just like in Star Fox 64. If they really wanted to go all out, he could have used his lasers from Star Fox Zero, making the fight even more intense. Going from classic Nintendo villains to a modern one, I come to what I thought was a given for a boss fight for Smash Ultimate. The Thief of the Great Zapfish, DJ Octavio, bring it on! Seeing on how Nintendo in general has been pushing and promoting Splatoon to death, it was actually really surprising and disappointing that DJ Octavio didn't serve as the final boss for Inkling's classic mode. Trust me when I say he would have been one of the most unique and fun bosses to fight. I say he would have worked excellently in his Splatoon 1 form, riding in the Octobot King, firing homing torpedoes, launching his fiery Fisto Pains, blasting a killer whale, and lastly and most importantly, the Cephalopod Bomb, which causes a devastating explosion upon impact. Each of these attacks would have their own unique mechanic. The homing torpedoes, like I just implied, would work as seeker launchers, tracking the player's location, making it quite the challenge to avoid. The key to dodging these pesky projectiles is to trick them into landing on the terrain, just like Duon's missiles and homing bullet bills in Mario games. DJ Octavio's second attack would be the Great Fist, located at the front ends of his Octobot King, which he fires at players for some serious meaty damage. However, unlike its Splatoon counterpart, these would be better if they weren't reflectable, because in Smash, if you are able to destroy every single one of the enemy's attacks, then there is really not much challenge to the battle, since the threat of each attack is suddenly dwarfed, and that's no fun. Lastly, we come to the one move from DJ Octavio that can be reflected, the Octo Bomb. This behemoth of an explosive will cause a massive, powerful blast. And I say it would have been truly scary if it had the radius of a smart bomb combined with the power of a bomb. Sounds scary. Yes. But if successfully returned to DJ Octavio, it will leave him dazed for a serious beatdown. The one X factor that I feel would have made him truly stand out is the ink. Just like with the Inklings, the more times the player is hit by one of DJ Octavio's attacks, the more ink they will be covered in. And the more ink they're covered in, the more damage and knockback DJ Octavio would deal, adding an extra layer of depth to his would-have-been fight, severely punishing players for careless mistakes. From Squid Kid to Olympian God, we come to the next would-have-been great boss, Hades from Kid Icarus Uprising. I'm actually surprised he wasn't a boss, seeing how he was Sakurai's character and seeing how Smash 4 proved that Sakurai likes to play favorites with his creations, proven by the inclusion of Palutena, Dark Pit, and Kid Icarus enemies being abundant in Smash Run. One would have thought that Hades was all but guaranteed, but no, it actually kinda sucks because this would have been an epic battle. Living up to his name as the god of the underworld, the main antagonist of Kid Icarus Uprising would have unleashed hell as a boss, firing a barrage of missiles, lasers, and twisters to push players to the gates of Tartarus. In order for Hades to work as a Smash Bros. Boss, some modifications would have to be made to make his battle possible. After all, excluding the classic mode credits, Smash Ultimate is not a rail shooter. Outside from the transfer of gaming genre, Hades would work greatly if he just used his attacks from Kid Icarus Uprising. Like previously stated, Hades fires an onslaught of missiles and lasers, which would have been great to put pressure on players to make sure they have awareness of their surrounding and not just mindlessly attack the god of the underworld. Just imagine it, every other square inch of the battlefield is covered in either lasers or missiles. Hot damn! And very useful because it could have helped players learn spacing and timing. Of course, Hades could have also used his lightning jabs, black hole, and the powerful darkness lariats to bring the house down. And lastly, who wouldn't love to listen to his taunts when fighting him? They are just a joy to listen to.
So this little angel took down Big Bad Medusa all by himself. What an accomplishment. Goodness, you should put this on your resume.
What's with this guy?
But before you do, you should know that I whipped up that Medusa especially for you.
Wait, how?
Add a pinch of memories to a ton of souls. Put them in a blender and hit frappe.
Explain yourself!
Now, nobody ever said that boss characters had to be first party. I mean, Rathalos and Dracula are a thing, so why not add another third party boss? Like, I don't know, Dr. Eggman? You know, to compensate for all the Sonic fans who really wanted Shadow as a playable character? However, Dr. Eggman would serve as much more than just an apology letter to Sonic fans. Being around fighting Sonic for almost 3 decades, there are so many possibilities for this mustachio Teddy Roosevelt lookalike to work as a boss. I say they should have brought forth Egghead's most iconic classic final battle, the Death Egg Robot from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Dr. Ivo Robotnik enters the DER and commences the assault. Players must strike at the torso to damage it. The legs are completely invulnerable, just like its 1992 counterparts. While attacking the torso, the Death Egg robot would occasionally launch its arms like missiles for some considerable damage and knockback. It would jump off screen and land for a devastating blow for anyone caught in the attack. However, the move will be very telegraphed, so getting hit by it would be entirely the player's fault. For the rest of its attacks, I will be looking at the Death Egg robot from Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1, where DER was upgraded. Here, this heaping chunk of metal has access to an electric force magnetic field to function as a deadly barrier. If the player touches it, they will take damage. Also in Sonic 4-1, the Death Egg robot can dash across the screen while protected by the barrier, making it more challenging to avoid taking damage. The reason I added some of Sonic 4 elements into the mix is simply because if Eggman only fought like his Sonic 2 counterpart, he would have been the new Petey Piranha, an easy as hell boss with almost no mobility and very slow telegraphed attacks. These upgrades would have helped him become a more formidable foe. To wrap this up, I will talk about a modern third-party boss in the Lumen Sage Baldur. Originating from the Bayonetta games, it's no surprise that Father Baldur's arsenal consists of flashy, fast, and over-the-top attacks. Baldur would be flying around the battlefield with his peacock wings, swinging his light sword like a total maniac, firing a number of fireballs in rapid succession, launching a large orb which will capture players and leave them defenseless against any of Baldur's attacks, and finally, volcanic explosions, creating Shinryuken-like pillars. Father Baldur would no doubt be one of the more difficult bosses in the game because of all the tools to factor into account. Each attack would have massive range and volume, really forcing players to master control of their character's mobility options. For this, Lumen Sage would leave no room for error. Despite all the tools he possesses, it would not be a wise decision to transfer over the skyscraper toss or the satellite beam from his battle in Bayonetta, because that would be overkill. He's supposed to be a regular boss, not the final one. I was going to go with Sephiroth instead of Baldur, but seeing how Square Enix is very difficult with their IPs, proof being the lack of Final Fantasy spirits and music, I scrapped the one-winged angel for the Lumen Sage. Thank you for watching the video to the very end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, mind dropping in a like, it really helps the channel. If you want to see more from me and are unhappy with my lack of uploads, then check out my Twitch in the description below. I try to stream at least 3 times a week. If you want to follow me on Twitter, there's that below as well. Till next time, adieu.